All right, hey Lions fans, Ben Doody here, managing editor at Heavy.com, here with Max DeMara from Heavy on Lions. Max, the lead Lions contributor, a guy who you all know and well in the Detroit sports scene. We're introducing a new feature here. This is a Michigan-centric sports betting feature. It's brought to you by our fans at FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook, a new partner of Heavy. And we're going to introduce a couple promos here. We're going to get into some chatter about the upcoming Lions game, give you an opportunity. If you're in Michigan, if you're a couple surrounding states also, if you're in Illinois, you can also do this. But a lot of Michiganders in our Heavy on Lions email community. FanDuel Sportsbook is live in Michigan. In this email, you're going to see a link that you can click on. It's going to take you to a really cool offer. Two cool offers, and I'll explain both of them. The first one is a risk-free bet of up to $1,000. If you're a new user in Michigan, risk-free bet. You can bet the Lions Cardinals game or anything else that you see fit, up to $1,000. If you lose the bet, FanDuel Sportsbook will refund your money. So free money on the table if you make the right pick. The second thing, we'll have a link to this one in the email as well. The Thursday night game, it's the Chiefs against the Chargers. Bet $5, win $150 on either side of that bet. So some easy money. We're going to have a segment here every week in the Heavy on Lions newsletter. We're going to talk about the betting scene as it pertains to teams in Michigan. We'll talk about the Lions here. We promise, get to the Michigan-Georgia game in subsequent settings, but we're going to go mostly NFL here. So again, risk-free, FanDuel Sportsbook. You can follow the link in the email. It's a risk-free bet up to $1,000, and then you can also bet that Thursday night game if you prefer to do that. Okay, so with that intro out of the way, we bring in Max with his 9 million Sports Illustrated on the wall and his backdrop. Good morning, Max. How are you doing, man?
Great. How about yourself? I'm doing pretty good with my 9 million Sports Illustrated.
It's the next segment we'll have you show the camera around, and there really are like it really is like a museum in Max's home studio. Okay, so as we said, risk-free $1,000 bet. Let me explain this. You don't have to bet the Lions game, but if you want to, you certainly can. You can bet anything on the menu. But Lions newsletter, we want to talk Lions. We'll talk about this game. We'll talk about it through a betting lens. So the Lions are, as you might imagine, you have basically one of the best teams in the NFL against one of the worst teams in the NFL. No offense, Lions fans, but a team that certainly has not done a lot of winning. One win, one tie. You have a Cardinals team coming in off a loss. Game is in Detroit. The Lions are a big underdog in this game, Max. They are getting 12.5 points. So if you think the Lions can keep this reasonably close, that's a lot of points. You think this is a touchdown game, then you might want to bet the Lions. The other thing that Max and I were talking about off air, is the money line on this game is plus 530 for the Lions to win. Now, look, on the risk-free bet, you might want to go big on that point spread bet, because if you lose the point spread bet, they'll just refund your money. But another option, if you want to go really big on this, plus 530. I'm not saying everybody's going to bet $1,000 on the Lions money line here, but if you did bet the $1,000 on the Lions money line plus 530, you're making more than $5,000 on that bet. So, Max, I know you have the FanDuel Sportsbook app there in Michigan. You're looking at this game. You don't have to give a pick if you're not 100% sure on it, but size this up from a betting standpoint Sunday with the Lions and Cards.
Well, I think the Lions they're an interesting team, right? Like we've talked about it, and a lot of people have talked about it. They keep these games close. There's really only 2 or 3 games where you can look at this year and say they've been blown out. So they're a very interesting team in terms of betting. This game, it's so hard to call because of the fact that the Lions have been dealing with the flu outbreak. They had that last week, under control more this week. Still have a lot of guys out with COVID. That's up in the air. And also they're going to be minus probably TJ Hawkinson, tight end, and DeAndre Swift, star running back as well. So this was a team that struggled in week 14 to score points. They only scored 10 points in Denver. Denver's got a good defense, but the Lions just could not sustain drives. They could not get in the end zone. Kept the game close again through the first half until it got out of hand in the second half. But you know, the Lions, it's a game where you feel like they could have another one of those close games where they hang around a little bit, but you know, maybe Cardinals pull away in the end. I think what makes it that way is just because of the offensive difference makers that they don't have or they might not have this week in Hawkinson and Swift. Those guys make such a big difference for the Lions in terms of being able to sustain points, move the ball down the field. Hockenson had a couple touchdowns in a couple straight weeks before his injury last week kept him out. And of course, Swift had been coming into his own as well as a running back, catching the ball as well out of the backfield. So tough to see the Lions maybe, pulling this off. But, as we said, they're a team that hangs around. They play very hard for Dan Campbell, as you know. They love that guy. So, they're an interesting team here late in the season. And as you mentioned, it's a road game for Arizona coming off a loss. It makes it a very interesting game. I do think this weekend in Detroit.
Do you think it's ballpark in that spread range, or you think this ends up being they hang around for a while and ends up being a 3-touchdown game?
I think more like what, hang around for a while and then it ends up being a 2 or 3 touchdown game. It just they can't be trusted defensively. Just lost Jerry Jacobs as well, who's their top rookie cornerback, undrafted free agent that's really played well this year. He's out with an ACL injury now. So you start thinking about who's going to stop DeAndre Hopkins, who's going to stop, obviously, Kyler Murray. I mean, the Lions are rolling with guys, let's just be honest here, coming in off the street. They've signed a lot of guys off the practice squad, off of other teams, off of waivers. They've brought a lot of different guys in. They've had to because of COVID, the flu, injuries, everything else. So I wouldn't predict – they play hard. I scrap, but I wouldn't predict them to keep – they'll keep it close, but I don't think they'll keep it close in the end. I think the Cardinals do pull away for a pretty commanding win.
So Max, I don't know if this is a pick per se, but he's basically saying he's going to pick the Cardinals. So
I would take the Cardinals in this game. Yeah.
Okay, so that is.
I'll go with it.
So the max pick is the Cardinals minus 12.5. I would go there too. I do think that again, we'll see how this plays out. It wouldn't shock me. It would not. It wouldn't shock me if the Lions covered. It wouldn't shock me if the Cardinals blow their doors off early. Just given the way that the Lions games have gone this season. And again, I'm not the Michigan guy here. Max is. If I had to script out the game, I would tell you it's been back and forth. The Lions could even have a lead early. It might be like a 6 or 7 point game at halftime. It might be a game that feels pretty close. But I probably like the Cardinals to stretch it out at least toward the end and cover that. Again, though, risk-free bet, Michigan plus 530. That's a big price. If you think the Lions have any kind of shot, that's just a big price if you pair it with the risk-free bet. So I kind of, I'm not going to say the Cardinals are going to win. I do like that risk-free bet. You go big on that money line. And again, this Lions team is not a good team, but they're not like one of the worst teams in football history. They might not even be the worst team in the league, Max. You're probably named 4 or 5 teams that are worse. And you have this team at home with a plus 530 money line. I like that. Okay, very briefly, and then we'll get you out of here. This other promo, Thursday night game, bet 5, win 150. The Chiefs are a slight favorite in this game over the Chargers. My advice, guys, on these new promos, bet 5, win 150. You're getting even odds on each team. Unless you have information that nobody else has, bet the favorite. So the Chiefs are a slight favorite. Last, I picked the Browns against the Ravens in this promo last week. The Browns won it. They only won by 2 points, but they did win. So I like the Chiefs in that game. You have a pick here, Chiefs Chargers. Again, it's a money line pick here. You get the 150. You pick the Chiefs and they don't cover. You still win the bet. So where do you go tonight if you have one on this for Chiefs Chargers?
Well, I'm with you, Ben. I think, especially when you think about the Chiefs' recent history. Last week, obviously, the big win over Las Vegas. I like where they're trending. They're one of those teams that seems to get better as the season goes on. And I feel like they maybe turned a corner in that game. So I would take the Chiefs in this game. I feel like they're coming on at the right time of year. And that big win last week, I think, could boost them moving forward. Obviously, Los Angeles, really good team, but I think the Chiefs are, getting to that point where they can turn it on at the right time. And that's what I would predict would happen.
All right. There's our debut Michigan sports betting in conjunction with our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. We're going to talk a lot of Michigan sports. We're going to have a lot of fun here, Max. We're going to talk, Max is a Sparty guy. We're going to talk some Obviously, you have to do that with the college football playoff. We're going to talk some college basketball. We're going to talk some hockey. I haven't talked hockey in years on a program like this. So we're going to talk some Red Wings. We're going to talk some Tigers. We hope the baseball season starts on time. Let's see how that plays out. So thank you for joining us. You can look for this segment, Heavy on Lions email every week. Max, looking forward to it, man. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, Ben. Great to talk with you.
All right.